Good morning, Cougs. You are listening to Slice of Seattle on KUGR Cougar College Radio. It's a sports talk show where I'm giving you updates, hot takes, and hopefully talk to some important people. It is a beautiful, beautiful day on the Palouse today, and it is a great day. I am joined in booth today with Connor Simmons. How are you doing today, Connor?
I'm having a great day so far. Woke up, got to be on this damn show, and I'm happy to be here. So thank you for having me, Smith.
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. I'm glad that I'm glad to have you on here too. Let's jump in. Let's talk about Cougar football. Played last Saturday against Boise State. It's the first and only ranked opponent we're playing against all year.
Yes.
And what was the final score on that? It was like
I want to say we got beat 44-24, something along those lines.
Super close to that, yeah. I mean, it breaks the undefeated streak. I feel bad too because I know on the last episode I talked about the fact that I was pumped. I was saying Cougar football undefeated. We're going against Boise State. We're just keep it going and everything. I feel a little bit like I jinxed it, but at the same time, I mean, it's Ashton Genty basically beat us single-handedly.
Yeah, he himself scored 4 touchdowns. So you take away, the game ended up being 45-24, so we're basically lost.
Yeah.
He scored 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
28-24.
Yeah.
He single-handedly beat us. And we knew coming to this game that, they almost beat Oregon. So it's like, you do the research, all this stuff. How did they almost beat Oregon, a top team, but that's a national champion, of the world this year?
Yeah.
And it's like, their quarterback's not that good.
No.
You even saw in this game, the quarterback was, maybe the stats show something better. But if you sat down and watched this game, their quarterback was not it.
No.
It was full-on Ashton Genty, a 5'9" beast.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even remember the QB's name for Boise State. That's the thing.
Maddox?
Something, yeah. And it's like, Gentry, he's, what? Yeah, he's 5'9". I don't know how much he weighed. He's like close to 200 pounds or something
Probably
like that.
220.
Yeah.
And it's just, he's lean.
Yeah.
I don't want to get the stats up, but 4 games, he almost has 1,000, I want to say 850 yards and 13 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, he's leading the league in Heisman.
Yep.
Because if he keeps this up, he's really close to breaking Barry Sanders' records, who's had the greatest college season of all time. Uh-huh. So Ashton Genty, he's doing unthinkable things, especially in the modern day and era where it's a pass-heavy football league and NFL, college, even high school starting to get more into it, where everything's just pass more, get more points. He's single-handedly rushing for almost 300 yards a game against very good schools. Mm-hmm. WSU maybe wasn't a national contender like Oregon was. Okay, well, he ran against Oregon. Yeah. Basically almost won against them. He beat us, which I thought we were a very good team.
Absolutely.
Quote-unquote, maybe we didn't play the good teams. All the analysis are going to say that. But Mateer was 9th, top 10 in the Heisman votes. You can't take that fact away. We didn't win, but they beat us by 21 points because of Ashton Genty. He completely ripped us apart. And after those big runs, you couldn't. What are you going to do defensively? You give up.
Yeah. You could see it I think in the fourth quarter when it was 2 minutes left, I think we realized it was over. We're not winning this game, and so we were going back out on offense, but it was just what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Close it by 7, get 1 touchdown. We're still down by The other thing too though, it wasn't just Genty. It was also the defense. They kind of just locked down Mateer all game. He had 8-9 sacks or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was which sucks. I love Mateer. He's great. Mm-hmm. I've seen him around campus a lot and everything. He's a great quarterback. He's a super good running quarterback, and I think they knew that. And so coming to that game, their whole plan was literally just to stop him from running, and so that's why they sacked him so many times.
Oh, and I think at halftime we were losing 17-13, 17-10, something like that. It could have been a tie game with that Mateer pick right before half, which was, like we said, we love Mateer, great quarterback, but that was just a horrible read and throw.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you had Chris Hudson across the middle.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't a touchdown, it was a good 12-yard gain.
Yeah.
Maybe make a move, something else happens. I don't want to say that was the downfall, but getting those extra points on the board late at half definitely does help, and especially because we've never really been down in a game so far this year, especially during halftime, or we haven't really had that experience yet of just getting our kind of butt handed to us.
Yeah.
And so that's what's going to half where it's yo, just stop Ashton Genty, all that stuff, and it kind of knocked everyone off their game when it's we're supposed to be that high scoring offense when they have 10 at half. And like you said, they almost contained Mateer.
Yeah, kept him in the box.
They gave him more time to pass it, but it's when you try to go out, boom, offensive line would collapse, defensive line, and we just couldn't find anything to do offensively. And if we did, it was too late. And when you have Ashon Genty, when you have a running back, you're quote unquote wasting the time.
Yeah.
Isn't wasting the time. This dude's gonna break off a 60-yard touchdown. So it's like you can't do much.
Yeah. No. And again, like we said, like we love Mateer, but he's not the best passing QB. He can run the ball. That's like his one main weapon, and he can.
His X factor, yeah.
Yeah, that's like what makes him like different from everybody else. But I mean, if you like what you're saying, like if you force him to if you give him time to like have to make a throw, he might make it, but I wouldn't trust him to be the guy who like airs one out deep and hits the guy.
Yeah, play in, play out.
No.
I know what you mean, and it's like when we're talking about Ashon Genty, he is full on. Like they probably do have a very good O-line. But I'm not going to sit here and say their O-line is carrying him. No, not at all. Because there's moments where it just shut down. And I'm pretty sure 3 of his touchdowns, we counted, he broke 5 tackles each.
Yeah, that's
which
the thing.
is his O-line is probably making some holes. Oh, I'm not going to discredit his O-line at all.
No.
But they are not the reason he is a Heisman front runner.
No.
He is not the reason. Like, not at all. And like we said, the quarterback play wasn't that well.
Yeah.
You know, when a quarterback play isn't well, as a receiver, you're probably not going to get that much shine.
No.
And it just makes you think that can Boise sneak into a playoff spot with just Ashon Genty?
Honestly?
Which is, it's not crazy to say.
I could see that. Yeah, they're probably going to have one of the best running games. Yeah, it's fantastic. But yeah, no. Bye week right now for the Cougs. They're not playing this week.
We come back and play Fresno next Saturday.
Yes, Fresno. And so, I mean, and we were going to mention this before too. Like the fact that you lose to Boise State is they're probably going to look at our schedule, see that was the one tough opponent we played all year.
And we got smoked.
And we got smoked. And it's just, that's the number one thing we did not want to happen this year. The 2 games we needed to win this game, the 2 games we needed to win this season were the Apple Cup, which we
bragging rights for a year.
Gotcha. Got business done on that. But then we needed to win this game against Boise State, and we just couldn't do it, which is just super frustrating. It's just really just.
And it's like, that was the one thing we just get our respect if we won this game. We probably, sneak in 24-25.
Yep.
And with the rest of the season being, I don't want to say easy because no game is easy at this point once you're undefeated or everything
Absolutely.
like that. But I would say we beat the hard teams already.
Yeah.
The hardest opponents we would have had, we would have beat. And like they would just never give us the respect.
No.
They're going to just see, we lost to the 25th team, got smoked by them, and so on. But you live and you learn. Going into a bye week on a loss like that, you can take pros and cons from it. Because obviously, you want to go into the bye week, hell yeah, we just won, baby.
Yeah.
We beat Boise, top team in the country. But you could get a little cocky from that.
Yeah.
And I saw a little bit of that when we beat the Huskies in the Apple Cup.
Yes.
We went to overtime and all that whole situation.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Shouldn't be that close to the game. But it's like when you do lose going into a bye week, it's a refresh period.
No, totally.
So it's a matter of how you use this bye week. I don't know how they did.
Yeah.
We'll know when they come out for Fresno next week. But there's pros and cons to this bye week.
Absolutely.
So I'm still happy with this team. I think we're going to finish with double-digit wins. And we just keep moving forward.
Yeah. No, that's the perfect way to put it. Yeah, that's probably all we're going to talk about with the Cougs right now. Let's jump in. Let's talk about the Mariners. I'm not going to talk a lot about the Mariners, mainly because their season is over.
Yes.
And I'm still, it's a sour taste in my mouth from that whole loss. The one thing that I'm going to talk about, though, that is really frustrating for me is that the Mariners ownership has basically, they came out a little while ago and said that we're probably not going to pursue the free agent pool this year. We're not going to go after. And the free agent pool right now for the MLB is stacked. It's a lot of big names. Yes. Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, Alex Bregman. These are big names. These are
100%.
These are guys who could carry a team to a World Series. Like, they're phenomenal talent. Juan Soto is phenomenal.
Difference maker.
Exactly. I hate seeing him in the Yankees, the pinstripes. It's like, although here's the thing though, I didn't realize that his contract was up and that he's going to be a free agent this year.
Yeah.
To be honest, I thought he had a really good relationship with Aaron Judge and that whole Yankees organization. And I know they're still in the playoffs, so they still have more games to play.
They're probably not even going to talk about contracts right now.
Probably not, yeah. So, I mean, that's a little ways out, but I thought he gelled really well with that team. They put together a super strong offensive team. Like, I remember all season, looking at the Mariners schedule, if I saw that we were playing the Yankees, I was scared. I was like, we're going to get swept or we're going to lose that series. Like, you can almost just guarantee that that's what was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's that whole thing. Pete Alonso with the Mets, they're doing pretty good in the playoffs right now. They just beat Milwaukee, and it was actually Pete Alonso hit a walk-off home run to be able to send them into the division
One of the
series.
Craziest hits I've ever seen.
Dude.
It can't ice a polar bear.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they say, man?
Yep.
Oh, my goodness. Because that was a crazy hit.
Mm-hmm.
But when you talk about these free agents and how the Mariners don't go in, the only reason I don't think we would have been a highly ranked team if we just had hitting. And we do have hitters.
Yes.
It just happened at the wrong time and just unlucky games.
Yep.
Like we almost snuck in. We were one game out. With a bunch of these free agents, don't get me wrong, probably nothing will happen with them. They'll just re-sign, get that bag. Like, that's what I think will happen. One,
Probably.
like you just said, everything good happened with the Yankees. They go on to win a World Series too. Come on now.
Yeah.
So it's to the point where it's like, why not? The Mariners are right there. If we get that one guy, add some more, boom, we're miles ahead, and we have the pitching. We just need the hitting.
Yeah.
And it's so sad to watch. It really is.
It's super frustrating. Like what you said too, like we have hitting. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of people who comment on the Mariners and like do stuff like that, and they'll always like complain about like, oh, the Mariners don't have any good hitters on our team. Like that's just not true. Cal Raleigh is one of the best hitting catchers in the league. Julio was a 2-time home run derby contender. I was going to think about it. So what's frustrating too is to fix our hitting problem, we brought on Jorge Polanco, who had a great season with the Twins. We brought on Mitch Garver, who won a World Series with the Rangers. So it's not like we weren't doing things to fix the hitting problem. We were bringing on hitters. It's just for some reason, I think the Mariners are cursed. I think we bring on really good players, and then for some reason they forget how to hit. And that's kind of what happened with Polanco and Garver. They basically came onto the lineup, and we expected them to be able to hit the ball really well. Garver just didn't do anything all year. He batted like 167, which is abysmal. It's horrible. And then Polanco, I'm not going to complain too much about Polanco. He was okay. He played about as good as a minor league call-up.
Yeah.
And
he had his moments.
Yeah, he had good moments. But besides that, he didn't really hit that well. And what you said about us having fantastic pitching, like we've always, like for I think as long as we've existed, the Mariners have always had and put together a fantastic pitching staff. And what I'm worried about is because we're not going to go after any of the free agents, right? We're not going to go after Pete Alonso, Alex Bregman, Juan Soto. What's probably going to happen, I've heard a lot of people talking about this too, is we're going to have to trade pitching because we have such great pitchers. They're the one asset we have that we could give up.
Yeah.
And that's the way we can offload them and give them some in exchange for somebody who can hit the ball. And so what I think, and someone was talking about this the other day, and I 100% agree with it. If we're going to do that, if that's our plan, the one pitcher we should get rid of is Luis Castillo.
Yeah.
Because, and I mentioned this before in a previous episode, I love him. He's a great pitcher. He's dominant. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
When we brought him on I think it was 2022, when we brought him onto the team, he was our ace. He was the best pitcher in that entire rotation. But I think since the 2023 season, and then this year too, he is not the ace of our bullpen. Without he's not as good. I think the guys around him kind of rose above him, and so you got. I think if you were gonna, again, like I mentioned this before, like if you're gonna talk about the ace of our bullpen, it's probably gonna be either Logan Gilbert or Bryce Miller. It's between those two. So I would trade Luis Castillo maybe for a hitter or something like that. But to be honest, it's literally just the Mariners staff being the Mariner ownership being incredibly, incredibly cheap, and they never want to spend money on anything.
And the thing is, I hate saying this because like we didn't even make the playoffs. Never mind like a championship or anything like that. But it's like I love the team. Like I love the team where it's like, bro, run it back. And it's like, I think we can run it back because I think at one point these guys are all professional athletes. Yeah. These guys are all dogs in its own aspect. Like, if we just ran it back, didn't trade anything, obviously do a couple minor things, like, they can get it going. It's just a matter of the fact it's like, if they don't get it going, you're going to blow everything up. So it's like something has to change, and I don't know where the Mariners go from here, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like, because there's almost 3 different paths you can take. So That's all I got from the Mariners, though.
Yeah, no. And which you mentioned too, like, because like we could run it back and we might be able to make the playoffs. I 100% agree. We have a playoff contending team. Like that's not. I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, the guys we have in our lineup are not good enough to make the playoffs. We could 100% could win the playoffs. It really came down to like 2 or 3 games that we lost earlier in the year that were why we didn't make it. And I think if we were running back with Dan Wilson being the head coach for us, granted I don't love Dan Wilson as our manager. I think he's okay and he's decent. He's been with us for a long time. He's a former Mariner.
Yeah.
I think he's a good. I think he should have been the interim guy for us. I think that the fact that they said like, oh no, he's the official manager moving forward, yada yada. I don't love that. I think we should probably pursue someone who maybe hasn't been with the Mariners because
refresh.
You need a fresh new voice.
Yeah.
You don't need because like that's the thing too. Is like the Mariners were trying to argue when they brought him on. They're like, oh, we need a fresh voice in the clubhouse, and you're bringing on the guy who's been working with us for years.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of getting a fresh voice in there. The one good thing I think he's done is they've brought Edgar Martinez on as the hitting coach. Edgar Martinez, former Mariner, I think he's won the Silver Slugger a couple times. He's a fantastic hitter, and I think as right after they brought him on as the hitting coach and he started to really work with the guys, they started to hit the ball better. Julio started hitting the ball better. Jorge started hitting the ball better. You saw guys actually start to heat up and start.
Just too little, too late.
Exactly. You're trying to win those last couple games of the season, and it came down to those games you lost way before that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, that's all I'm going to talk about the Mariners again. It's frustrating. I'm always angered by them constantly, but you're more of a Blue Jays fan, though. So I mean, yeah. We poached Turner from you guys too, and So, I mean, I don't know if he's going to stay with us though, because like
he's older in age.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think that instead of us going after the free agents, it seemed like we tried to pick up like, oh, let's fix it midseason. Let's bring in Turner and Arozarena. And I'm kind of sitting there like, yeah, they're good baseball players, but you do realize like they're getting old. Like they're not. There's not a lot of upside potential for these guys.
I think we can build with Randy though.
Yeah.
He's someone that I think we could take into old age. Because I think at one point he could even just be like that. Like I don't want to compare him to Jose Altuve. You know what I'm saying? But, like, he's that guy who can get a single, get a double, huge hit. But, honestly, I don't know where to go with Randy either.
Yeah.
Justin Turner, I think he'll probably leave.
Yeah.
But I think we give Randy at least a couple more seasons.
Yeah. No, I got problems with Randy for a variety of reasons. Like, I feel like I can see his, like, approach to playing the game and everything. I always feel like he's big leaguing people, so I always have a problem with him, and I'll always like not love him a lot. He's a good baseball player, but I don't know. Yeah, but you're right. He probably is like out of the two of them, he's the one that I could see having a little bit more upside potential. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna talk about the Mariners again. Frustrating. Hopefully, as they keep making moves, hopefully they stop being super cheap and they'll actually go get somebody who can help us out. But no, let's talk about the Seahawks, and like it was a rough week for Seahawks and Cougar fans. Undefeated coming into that week, and then the Seahawks lose to the Lions. I forget the score in that game, but it was
a close one. I want to say it was close to like 30, like 40. Yeah, I'll search it up real fast.
Go ahead and do that. No, but I mean, and I think a lot of people would point at that game and be like, "Oh yeah, the first tough team you play all year and you lose it, and now you're 3-1. Like you guys aren't that good of a team." And I'm like, "No, literally our whole D line
was gone.
Everybody."
And the game ended up 42-29.
Yeah.
But I think the last, I want to say touchdown or field goal to get it with like a 2-possession game was like garbage points, like
totally.
Threw a pick, whatever.
Yeah.
Gino showed out,
dude.
But something in this game that I can firmly say that I'm not even Seahawks bias.
Yeah.
As you know that. There were some missed calls in here.
Yeah.
They called a lot. Don't get me wrong, they called a lot. But there were some missed calls in here that were pretty big. And I truly don't like looking at I think it was the DK pass interference in the end zone.
Yes.
That ended with I don't think we ended with a touchdown on that. And it's just plays like that. They do make a difference.
Yeah.
I'm not here to Seahawks lost because of the refs or anything like that.
No.
I think a good part of it though, even though we played up to the competition was our easy start, quote unquote, almost like softened us up.
Yeah.
Because even going into this week, now we played the Giants without Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
He's the reason they got so and so close games and stuff like that. But we had the Broncos with the Bo Nix.
Yes, yeah.
He's not really done much. Went to overtime versus the Patriots, which was a stressor.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be a stressor.
It should not have been, yeah.
And I think that the Seahawks are at the part where it's like they're playing up and down to their competition, where it's like you have to find your own identity within that. You got to be able to beat the teams by 10 plus, the bad teams.
Yep.
Stay with at least the good teams like we did with the Lions. It's just a matter of doing that because at one point the hard teams are going to come.
Yeah.
I think after week 5 versus the Giants, the hard games are going to start coming along.
Yeah.
And especially injuries and stuff like that, they're going to kill us.
Yeah. And what you said, the hard part of the season is coming up. We're going to be playing the 49ers twice.
The Rams.
We're going to be playing the Bills.
Yeah.
And really, those are the only tough teams I think we're playing this year. Everything else, those are the only like high competition we're going to be going against. Everything else is kind of, I wouldn't say easy wins. I don't like to say that. I don't like to say you're going to get an easy win.
It's never an easy win.
No, never. Yeah. And I think they're games that if we just play at our level or even a little bit below, we could still probably pull out a win. And so it's but those games, the 2 games against the 49ers, the game against the Bills, the game against the Rams, those are the ones that if we can win those.
Even just split those games, go 2-2.
Exactly.
That's all you need to do.
Totally. Yeah. And then you have then the rest of your schedule you could make the playoffs. 100%. I could see that. And Geno had a fantastic game. DK had a decent game. Kenneth Walker, his first game back after his oblique injury. Whenever guys get injured like that and they're out for a couple games or something like that, and they're the backup guy, in this case it was Charbonnet, comes in and fills that role, and they play the way Charbonnet was playing.
Yes.
Usually I'm like,
you start questioning stuff.
100%. There are so many stories in sports of guys like that who are like, oh, I'm hurt, I can't play or something like that, and they get this backup guy comes in, and then he becomes the starter, and then you never hear about that guy ever again.
And we talked about that, because Kenneth Walker, throughout his 3 years with the team, or he's coming towards the end of his rookie contract, he's had injury problems. He's always been a dog for us.
Yep.
When he does play, he's a very good football player, very good running back. It's just a matter of keeping him on the field. And when you have a backup like Zach Charbonnet, who's a bigger running back, putting up almost the same identical stats whenever he is a starter, and a younger running back, it makes you think when Kenneth Walker, we talked about this, Kenneth Walker's contract is up. Do you let him walk?
Yeah.
Because you save cap space. Because already off the bat, running backs are getting paid more than, I think there's 110% upgrade between receivers.
The highly replaceable, yeah.
Most replaceable position in football, and least important, quote unquote.
No, totally.
It's just go with the younger guy. He's putting up the exact same stats. Doesn't have injury problems.
Yep.
It's just a matter of what do you do in that situation.
Yeah.
And obviously, Kenneth Walker is a great football player.
Totally.
But it's you pay him and he gets injured.
Yeah.
There goes that cap space. You still have Zach Charbonnet, but it's it gets to the point Zach Charbonnet wants to be a starter.
Yeah.
Another team's going to go give him a bag.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you have to make that decision in these upcoming years too.
Yeah. And I will say, Walker did what he needed to do when he came back, which was put up a great. He had 3 touchdowns in that game against the Lions. So I think he knows it too. He knows that the Seahawks are now looking at the options, like what you're saying. If they make Charbonnet the starter for them, they have the number of opportunities, the paths they can go with. So I think he probably knows that, and so he knows that game for the Lions was super important. His first game back, he had to show out, and he did. He played phenomenal football. 3 tutties, exactly. It was great. That was fantastic football. And really, I would say the number one reason why we lost that game was literally just because the Lions just ran the ball.
They're the most, I think, them and the Ravens, 2 playoff teams, which is speaking a lot with the run game right now. They run the ball more than anything. Yeah. And they have a 2-headed dragon with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery.
Exactly.
David Montgomery's just bouncing off guys. Oh, Jahmyr Gibbs, and they might throw a screenplay. Oh, no, he's actually running this 15 yards. You can't do a whole bunch with their D-line out.
Yeah.
So it's and it's primetime game, all this stuff. And like we said, this was our first hard game of the year. I don't want to say all the other games were easy.
No.
But looking at the league and schedule and stuff like that, the Lions are definitely a playoff team and stuff like that. And it's just it was we were softened up. We were already injured from weeks before. These guys are just gonna pound the rock. They watch film. They know our D linemen are out.
Exactly.
Come on now, and boom.
No,
it's gonna happen.
That was that literally. If you, I'm confident in saying and I know I'm biased because I'm a Seahawks fan, but I would literally just say that's why we lost that. It was just that our D-line was out.
100%.
And I know there are going to be people out there who are just like, again, like we said, like they're going to be like, oh, the first hard team you guys played against, you lost, you guys aren't a playoff contending team. It's like, dude, look at the fact that we have one of the best defenses in the league, and all of our starters are just not in that game. So you're having to put in your secondary guys. And even it doesn't matter how good of a defense you have. If you put in your secondary guys, you're not going to...
These guys are the best of the best. You play against the worst team,
yeah,
their running back can run all over these secondary guys.
Yeah.
100%. It's just something that's going to happen. And the Seahawks will learn throughout the season because this is also McDonald's first year as a head coach.
Yes. Yep.
So he's learning a lot as well. He's still a very young human being in general. I think 36.
He's the second youngest
behind Sean McVay or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So he's still just a very young guy. Don't get me wrong, he knows his football.
Totally.
He's a defensive-minded head coach. That's where the defense has been doing so well. But you coach very well offensively. Our offense coordinator.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Brian Grubb. Yeah.
Geno Smith had a great game.
Fantastic
and
game.
He's leading the league in passing going into this week.
Yeah.
Will that keep up? Maybe. You never know. Geno Smith is just one of those quarterbacks, like we said, he's a bridge quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not going to be in Seattle probably 3-4 years from now.
He's not.
Everyone loves Geno too.
Yeah.
Geno's that lovable character.
He's not Russell Wilson. He's not Tom Brady. He's not a fantastic QB who's going to be the face of our franchise for a long time.
Even though he got his career revived with us too. Like they wrote him off.
Yeah.
He didn't write back. But pretty soon, it's going to come down to Seattle. Like, we have to make a decision. Like, we got to draft a quarterback.
Oh, totally.
Like, it's going to come down pretty soon. And this is a draft class with very good quarterbacks that will fall. Let's say we do make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Fall pretty late into that first round.
Yeah.
Because a lot of teams don't need quarterbacks. And I wouldn't say a quarterback is a need for the Seahawks right now.
Totally.
But if someone like a Quinn Ewers, because of his injury, falls down in the draft, I think you take him.
Yeah.
And I really do think you take him.
Yeah.
Geno Smith finishes his contract out, go off in sunset, retire, or maybe go get a bag being a backup somewhere.
Yeah.
But then you just let Sam Howell and Quinn battle it out.
Pretty much, yeah.
But it's getting to a situation like we talked. It's almost like the Kenneth Walker situation.
Yeah.
Decisions have to be made pretty soon for us to keep being above average in this league.
Yeah.
So.
No, absolutely. Definitely, I think if we can get a younger QB who we can build around.
100%.
Because I don't think you're building anything around Geno at the moment. No. And so I think we get a younger guy in there who we can build around. I think I'm not going to be like sit here and be like, oh, if that happens, we got a good quarterback, we're going to like go to the Super Bowl or something like that. But we can build a team that
the potential is there.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And one of the things too, Mike McDonald, after that loss against the Rams, I mean, there's a number of ways he could have responded to that.
Yeah.
He could have, been like, he could have done like what we're doing, where we're saying like it was our D line was out and the refs and that whole thing.
All that BS.
He wasn't, and that's why I love Mike McDonald. He basically said, and it's not verbatim, but it essentially boils down to that's unacceptable. That loss is unacceptable, and I love that. I love coaches who can lose against tough teams like that and then not go out there and be like, oh, well, they're a good team and they just outplayed us. No. It's like, no, we're better than them. We have better guys than them. We're going to go, we should have won that game. And it's like, and that's that mentality. Even if it's not even like true, like maybe they do got guys who are better than us.
Yes.
But it's like that mentality of I'm going to win because I know that we are better than this in my heart. And that's why I love coaches like that. I love Mike McDonald.
Oh, and 100%. And like we said before, like Geno, I think is pretty close to our head coach's age. So it's at the point where we have a very young team.
Absolutely.
Defensively, between our secondary, between D linemen, we trade for Leonard Williams, between our linebackers, JSN.
Yep.
DK's still really young. Tyler Lockett's the veteran of that squad. All you have to do is get some linemen, like Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, still really young.
Yeah.
You can build. We have a team to build around.
Yep.
For a young quarterback.
Totally.
So it's a matter of what the front office wants to do, obviously.
Yeah.
They know more than us.
Exactly. They got more information.
But the Seahawks do have decisions to make pretty soon, and a lot of people are going to look past that. Oh, they're winning games. Oh, they're just going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
But the Seahawks probably have as many decisions as a team does lower down in the draft, like the Giants or something like that. They have some decisions to make.
Absolutely. And I think too, I was looking at too earlier today, the Seahawks. It's DK Metcalf, JSN, and Tyler Lockett, I think, are the second-ranked wide receiver trio in the NFL right now.
Behind the Texans.
Yeah, exactly. And you're a big Texans fan, too.
Oh, 100%. I could talk all day about the Texans. Yeah. But because Seahawks obviously have a very good receiver core.
Totally.
But they are just very disciplined. Like, when you go to the Texans, these guys are just like straight superstars, every single one of them.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, they're all very good receivers, but like Nico Collins, he's leading the league in receiving by 100+ yards.
Yep.
Which is Stephon Diggs. A lot of people had questions about him and what's happening.
Dog.
No, been a dog. I think top 10 receiving yards. And then Tank Dell coming back from injury, he proved last year what he could do as a little 5'7" slot guy.
Totally.
He's been out a year and they're still leading the league in like that trio kind of thing. But you fall down that like all those guys are Pro Bowl talents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Seahawks guys have Pro Bowl talents and stuff like
Totally.
that. But they don't have that CJ Stroud. They don't have, that pass-heavy offense, you know what I'm saying?
No.
So when you have like that DK who's a specimen, JSN, young guy, Tyler Lockett, he'll get you some yards and go down, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's very impressive what the Seahawks are doing.
Totally.
So
yeah. I'm not gonna sit here and say that that loss against the Lions is like that's the rest of the season is gonna be like that.
Yeah.
Like it was just a good first start and now we're gonna be awful. We're gonna keep if Mike McDonald keeps thinking the way that he's thinking from like how he reacted to that loss and that mentality. I think that I think 100% we're gonna beat the Giants. That's a no brainer. We can go in there and if we just play our game, we're gonna win that game. If we just clutch up against the actual competition we have, again, Bills, 49ers, Rams, we can win those games. We can 100% win those.
Oh, and it's to the point where I think the Seahawks' players and coaches all around them are having that mentality of like, it's one game.
Yeah.
Like, come on, let's go out stronger. Like they're not gonna just mope and dope around. So Seahawks are someone to look forward to.
Oh yeah,
looking throughout this rest of the season.
Yeah,
so.
I would not get bummed out by that Lions loss at all. So that's probably all I'm gonna talk about for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Let's talk about the Kraken. And I know you're a huge Edmonton Oilers fan. And
of course.
We just played you guys. I think that was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
In preseason, and we got a nice little 6-2 win. It was looking I mean, if you look at the whole preseason for the Kraken, we kind of played horribly. Like we only won 2 games. It was that game we won against the Oilers, and then we won 3-2 against the Canucks or something.
Okay,
like that.
yeah.
And I mean, and again, I like watching preseason. Preseason gives you a pretty good look at how the season's gonna look, but I wouldn't put too much stock in like, oh my gosh, we only won 2 preseason games.
You can't be heavy on it because even like looking at the wins, we beat the Oilers.
Yeah.
6-2. When we go do some more research, their third string goalie was in. Yeah. He was 22 years old.
Totally.
So it's like almost every team, you can't look too much into it because the star players aren't even playing. Like I think McDavid played 10 minutes?
Something like that, yeah.
So you can't look too crazy into it.
No.
But one thing I do when watching the Kraken was when Montour and a bunch of the free agents that the Kraken signed this year.
Brandon Montour, Chandler Stevenson, 2 of them.
All those guys, they're stepping into a veteran role. And those guys are coming from a championship team, so they have like that. They know what needs to happen to win a damn championship, to bring Seattle a championship itself. So when it comes to like being that veteran, being that voice in the locker room, they don't even have to be putting up 50 points a season.
No.
Obviously, they're great players. You're going to probably do that. But I think they have what it takes to like have this young core develop into a playoff year in, year out team.
Oh,
so I like how with the Kraken are beating, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
But you have to spend a lot of money to get someone like Brandon Montour, who's a top defender in the league, coming off a Stanley Cup champion.
Yeah,
like
Panthers.
Come on now. Yeah. You have to spend a lot of money on that, and I think he's really going to be a voice in this locker room for Seattle.
Oh, totally.
And I think Seattle could be a sneaky team.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think what you mentioned with Montour and Stevenson being those veteran guys, I think 100%. I mean, we don't have. I don't think anybody on the Kraken, except for those 2, have won a Stanley Cup. I think we might have a couple guys who've been to the Stanley Cup, but I don't think we have any Stanley Cup champions. And so the fact that you're bringing those guys on, you're bringing that championship experience, that championship mentality onto the team.
Yeah.
Like what you're saying. And then this is going to sound like a crazy comparison, but like when you brought Tom Brady onto the Buccaneers, you're bringing at that point he had 6 rings, I think.
Yeah.
You bring him onto the Buccaneers, and like the Buccaneers weren't that like.
They weren't the team.
No.
They were a good location. That's why he went there.
Yeah, exactly. And it was, he was going to go to the Bears or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, he had, I think any team he would have gone to because of who he is, he's Tom Brady. And I hate hyping up Tom Brady for obvious reasons being a Seahawks fan. But you got to admit he's good. He brings that championship mentality, that championship experience, that championship, like what you're saying, when you take that young core and you make them better, that's what I feel like Brady did to the Buccaneers. He took a team and you put a guy like a leader like that on that team, and he pulls everybody up with him. He's not the guy who puts up a great season. He's like, why aren't you guys contributing? No. He's like, he helps bring people up to his level,
100%.
so that they can go and win a championship.
Yes.
He understands that it's a team sport, and I think that's probably what's going to happen with Montour and Stevenson. Is they're new to the team, but they're those guys who are, I wouldn't say. I think they're still fairly young. I think Stevenson's a little bit older, but like they're still young. I wouldn't say like they're like a true veteran like Eberle is almost. Yeah. But they're kind of starting to get to that point, and this is the sweet spot where they're still young, they're still got a ton of talent.
They're still going to perform and be the leader. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And they get being a leader. They get guys like Matty Beniers, Vince Dunn, Jared McCann. You get these guys who probably need someone like a presence like that in the locker room and on the ice.
Yes.
And you put together an absolutely fantastic team.
100%. And what the Kraken, because Seattle hockey is just going to keep growing as years go on. 100%. And it's fun to watch too.
Yeah.
Because they are a very young team. They just came in the league, you know? But I think what the Kraken are trying to find is they got to find that identity.
Yes.
And I think bringing these championship veteran and guys will help them lead in the right direction to find that identity.
Yeah.
Because every playoff team you see, like we talked about this, has that superstar where they're getting 100+ points a season, all that stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what the Kraken need to find. Yep. They find that one guy that gets the points. You build around that. You get guys because he makes other people better.
Yeah.
Then you have the veterans. Then you have the really good defenseman, Montour.
Yep.
Then you have that third line guy that gets 30 goals.
Yep.
And you just keep building off that, and so on and so on. And the Kraken they're in the right direction. They're not going backwards. No. They're not constantly just that horrible team. They're that young team that's going in the right direction year in, year out.
Totally.
I think the ownership and coaches are doing a very good job right now.
Oh yeah.
Because I still think for them to be a championship team, they're a couple years out. Don't get me wrong. They're a couple years out, or maybe a couple players out. You never know. Trades obviously happen. But the Kraken are going in the right direction.
Absolutely. And like what you said with ownership, I mentioned it. I think I mentioned it on an episode before. It can be really easy when you had a season like last year where you missed the playoffs like that. You underperform drastically.
Yeah.
It can be really easy for players on that team whose contracts are up or who are going to be up and soon could be like, oh, this is a sinking ship. I'm going to jump off, But they didn't. They continue to, I think, McCann re-signed with the Kraken a little while ago. Adam Larson re-signed with the Kraken. So obviously ownership is doing something to keep these guys. When they want to play for Seattle, they like the area, they like the team, and they understand that there's upside potential. Like you're saying, we're not going backwards. We're making the right moves to be able to put ourselves in a playoff contending situation. Like we're the opposite of the Mariners. We make the right moves in terms of getting guys. And what you said with having like a young guy to build off of, I think Matty Beniers was supposed to be that guy. I still think he is. I think he had a rough season.
It was, I think, injury like he got injured.
Yes, yeah.
And you could tell was a little bit of probably hesitation in there. Yeah. A little hesitation, a little bit of like, I'm a little scared, which is okay. Yeah. I feel like every injury, you break your foot, you're going to be lenient towards walking on that right foot. Yeah. And it's going to happen. But I think after a full season of recovery, he can step in. I think he'll be the leading goal scorer or point scorer coming into the season.
I think Matty Beniers and Julio Rodriguez are really similar in my book.
Face of Seattle.
Seattle, yeah. They're the guys who are probably going to be the face of the franchise for both those teams. Had a bit of a rough season, for the 2024 season for Julio, and a little bit of the 2023 season too. And then the 2023-2024 season for Matty, again, like we were just saying, like he didn't have the best of a season. Yeah. I think there are a lot of people who are like Kraken fans who are jumping ship on, and baseball fans who are jumping ship on both of them. Like you're supposed to be the face of the franchise. What's going on? No. Yeah. I think they're gonna be. I think they're still really young, and I think that it's gonna take some time. Like they're not so talented that it's gonna be like, oh my gosh, their first year in the league, their first, second, third year in the league, they're like the best players ever. Yeah. It's gonna take a while for them to get up to the level where they can actually do that.
No, 100%. Those guys they're both super young. A lot of people expect like these young guys, like going back to like when LeBron was drafted,
Yeah.
did some crazy stuff, and now people are getting younger and younger. You got 17-year-olds in college playing for Alabama and Duke and all these guys and stuff like that. And with the media and social media nowadays and how the internet's, it takes a mental toll on you.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to be this guy. You're getting all the hype in the world. Everybody loves you. Oh, you don't perform?
Yeah.
Boom, it hits you like a wall.
Yeah.
Like, you just... And it's going to be like a snowball effect. You just got to find a way to get up. And I still think both these guys are really young.
Totally.
Potential all-stars in both their respective leagues.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But going back to the team as a Kraken... Or Kraken as a team, my fault.
Yeah.
They give me the massive vibe of... They build this young core. They have a solid offensive thing.
Totally.
A very good defense.
Yep.
And then I think they will get, at one point in these upcoming years, a top 5 goalie.
Absolutely.
And they'll make a deep run. I don't know when it will happen in the next 5 years, but one of those years, I think they will get like a Sergei Bobrovsky, like how he carried the Panthers, him and Tkachuk.
Yeah.
That he just full on will win them games. That win that 1-0 game.
Yeah.
And the offense will show up here and here out. But the Kraken give me that. They're a defensive, insane goalie kind of team. And then Beniers, McCann, all that stuff will score you those 3-4 goals.
Yeah.
So and we've said this so many times through this, last 10 minutes of talking about hockey.
Yeah.
They're in the right step.
Totally.
There's not a lot to talk about. Obviously, season's coming around. We'll talk more about this on here.
Yeah.
But they're going in the right direction. That's all that matters right now.
Oh, 100%. And with the goalie situation, too, like, I love Joey Decord. Like, he had a great turnaround last year, like that Winter Classic game where he shut out the Golden Knights and everything. And then since then, he played fantastic hockey.
Yeah.
I mean, he's great. He's a fantastic goalie. Is he like Bobrovsky?
No.
Not at all.
No.
I would not say that. He's not that kind of, like, Stanley Cup champion type goalie.
100%.
But Grubauer is decent, but I think that, honestly, like, I think if we were smart, I would, like what you're saying, I would trade Grubauer for somebody who can offer a little bit more offensive power for us. And, like, I mean, granted, you got Beniers, you got McCann, you got Yanni Gord, who's pretty good, too. Like, you got, like, decent offensive players, but you needed, like, a superstar. You need someone who's going to come on and
trade for someone young.
Yeah, who's going to have a lot of upside potential. I mean, I feel like Shane Wright might be that for us this year.
I think Shane Wright will step up, yes.
Yeah, I think he had a goal in that Oilers game, which was beautiful. It was he got the puck out in front and did a little spin move, pushed it through the legs of it wasn't Skinner. I can't
Oliver
remember.
Rodrigo, I believe.
Yeah, whoever your guys' second string goalie is. Which is probably why we scored 6 goals on you guys. I'm just gonna say, but like, so and we have a new coach this year too. We have Bausma, Dan Bausma, who was the coach for the Coachella Firebirds, who Shane Wright was playing down with.
Knows how to use him.
Exactly. That's the thing. So like I think he had a rough start those first 2 years basically, and he kept getting pushed down to the minors and everything like that. And like I wouldn't say like he's a disappointment. I would say same thing with Matty Beniers. He's a super young guy who just needs a little bit of experience before he jumps into the league and actually gets his feet wet, And I think he's handled at that time. He's built up that confidence. He is a coach now. So since we got rid of Hackstall, we have a coach now who knows him, who's played with him, who knows how to utilize him, like you said. So I think he's going to be a standout guy too. But I think Grubauer. I love Grubauer. He's a good goalie, but like I think we could afford to trade him.
And I think when it comes to like, because we're not in a rebuild, we're almost, I want to say 70% done with this rebuild where we're like at the verge of that playoff kind of level. And something that I think we're going to see a lot happen is like, we spent the money in free agency.
Yep.
I think a big trade will happen pretty soon. Like you said, if we trade one of the goalies, Decord, Grubauer, there's a lot of drama right now with Jeremy Swayman on the Boston Bruins, who's a top 10 goaltender in this league.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's what I just like talked about. You trade, a second-round pick or something, a first-round pick, and I don't know what package it could be. You look for the Kraken for Swayman and stuff like that. You get Swayman on this team, young guys step up, you have the defense, you have the leaders. This is a very good seeing them going second round of the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Team. Like, you get Swayman on this team, that's what I was talking about. You got that dominant goalie. And we can pay him, too.
Yep.
We have the contract, we have the money. That's the whole drama happening right now, is that ownership's like, we paid him, we offered him. They didn't offer me anything.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Exactly.
So, anything can happen with this Kraken team. I think we talked about majority of it.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, totally, yeah. First game of the season. So that Edmonton game was the last preseason game.
Yep.
I think it's a good note to end on. Get a nice little 6-2 win. It's not a good note for you guys, but like, anyway, it's first game of the season is Tuesday, October 8th. We're going against the Blues. I mean, I'm not sure how good the Blues are going to be. I mean, they might be some decent competition, but I think the number one thing, obviously, with any sport, you win the first game of the season, please.
100%, yeah.
Just win it, because it's like it sets the tone for the entire year.
Well, and looking last year, I know a lot about the Edmonton Oilers. They made the Stanley Cup Game 7, almost craziest comeback of all time. But they were 3-9-1 at one point last season. They were the worst team ranked in the NHL at one point last season.
You guys changed your coach too. You fired him.
Fired our coach, which I love, Jay Woodcraft.
Yeah.
He did a lot for the team. Had to be done though. Boom, we get a couple wins.
Yep.
Boom, we go on a, I think, 17-win streak.
Yep.
Almost tied the record. A lot of things can change. But I think if that doesn't happen, there's a chance Edmonton's competing for the President's Trophy, best team in the league, kind of regular season, stuff like that. And you don't want that to happen. They were all almost dead. They were tapping out in these games. The Oilers were just done.
Yeah.
And then the fact that they were able to fight out of that hole and be a top team, ranked even those playoffs, get some home court advantage.
Totally.
Or home ice advantage.
But
it is very impressive. And a lot of teams cannot do that. And the Kraken are one of those teams where they haven't even been in the league long enough for those players to experience being down that much and fighting back. So you're 100% right. You got to come out swinging pretty early on, At least stay level-headed with the league.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, no. That's what we got for the Kraken.
Yes, 100%.
I'm looking forward to that first game of the
hockey season coming up.
Dude,
100%. WSU Cougars coming up.
Yeah, the hockey team for the Cougs. I love it. Yeah, no. Something about like when this time of year, when you realize that hockey season's coming around, it's just like a little feeling in my soul. There's that time where all three sports are going at the same time. You got hockey, you got football, and you got baseball going at the same time. And I think
basketball is coming up in a preseason just started, so I think give it 2 weeks for basketball as well.
So yeah,
we got 4 sports.
This is like the peak sports watching time right now.
Even just in life in general, you got Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Yep.
It's a great time to be alive.
Oh yeah,
as a human being. That's all I'm gonna say.
No, totally. Yeah. So no, that does it for the Mariners, Seahawks, Kraken. Today we're gonna do a little interesting because now I got Connor up here in the booth with me
100%.
today. We're gonna do a little hot take corner. It's gonna be a little blind reaction. So we both got 10 hot takes basically in the sports world, not just Seattle sports, and we're basically gonna read them off and just blind react to them. You got 10 spots.
Talk about them, all that stuff. Just a quick little segment.
Yeah, reasoning behind it and everything. So let's jump into it. So I got mine right here.
I'll write down my 10 spots. This is a blind reaction, so we'll talk about it a little bit. But give us your opinions on these hot takes as well, because hey, you never know, we might look like geniuses.
Exactly.
Now that we said this, so
we might predict some things that are gonna happen.
Yeah.
So my first one, I'm going with the Chiefs don't make the Super Bowl this year.
Okay, the Chiefs don't make the Super Bowl this year. I don't, because it's very hard to make a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I really do think the Chiefs could honestly be 1-3, 0-4 right now.
Totally.
They are not looking dominant. I think there was a stat when they were the primetime game, I think, last week in week 3, the Sunday night game versus the Falcons or something. I want to say that there was something like their last 10 games in the regular season, 9 of them they won by like 1-possession games.
Yeah.
So, and making a Super Bowl is very different from winning a regular season game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to rank that towards the lower part of my
list.
I'm going to put it at 7.
At 7?
Or we'll go 8. Kansas City not making Super Bowl.
I like that. That's a good one. That's a good spot. I like that. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Because they've been they kind of get bailed out like 1 or 2 calls that like if they go the other way,
like basically calling the game.
Yeah, that would have totally been it. All right. So we got that one. Let's go.
So we're at number 8 filled up.
Yeah, number 8's filled up. Let's go. Seahawks are making playoffs this year.
Okay, looking at that, that's also not crazy to say.
Yeah.
A little bit here and there, nothing crazy to say. I'll put it at 7 because we talked a lot about Seattle already, so I'm not going to go too into depth. I'll
feeling
put it
pretty
at 7.
confident about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. All right. Next one we got. Oof.
That's a big one.
I'm trying to think here. Connor Bedard is overrated.
Ooh, that's a big one because he won Rookie of the Year last year.
Yep.
He's like him and Victor Wembanyama are like the unicorns. These guys are going to be the future GOATs.
Yep.
I'm not going to be one to judge off of 1 year.
Yeah.
Anything like that. I think he will be a superstar. Like
Totally.
the talent he showed, and he got a little bit injured towards the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
So I'm going to rank that number 3 because Connor Bedard I don't think he's overrated.
Yeah.
He's also on a team where he doesn't have anyone else. He's the one to score.
Yeah.
So I'm going to rank that as 3. Connor Bedard is not overrated.
Yeah. You get drafted to the Blackhawks. There's not a lot you can do there. Yeah. No. It's tough. All right. Next one. Ooh.
Also, something I wanted to say is that,
Ooh, yeah.
one, being on the scale of 1 to 10 where we're blind ranking, 1 is very like, that is the hottest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, no way it's
And
going to
then-
happen. Yeah.
And then 10 is just like, I can see it happening.
Exactly.
That's where we're kind of ranking. So,
yeah.
For
So
the
I
viewers
forgot,
at
I forgot
home-
to mention that too.
Yeah,
I
for the viewers
appreciate
at
that. Next one we got Panthers
Mm-hmm.
are not making the playoffs this year.
Florida?
Florida, yeah.
Okay, I'm obviously a Florida hater.
Yep,
I hate the
yep.
Florida. Their fans.
You had a rough year last
You
year.
know,
Huh?
as Edmonton Oilers almost came back. They lost a lot of people though.
Yeah.
A lot of people are gonna. They have like we were looking at rankings going into the season.
Yes.
They have, which is understandably they won the championship.
Yep.
Florida at number 1, but I really think they're surpassing a lot of. They lost a lot of guys. Like
Totally.
Montour is a huge.
Yep. Got pushed by
loss.
the Kraken. Yeah.
I think Sergei Bobrovsky's a great goalie.
Mhm.
He's gonna start declining pretty soon. He's getting up there in age.
Yep.
You know. Matthew Chuck's always gonna be a dog, but I don't think it is insane to say.
Yeah.
Because so many things can happen in the season.
Totally.
And they did lose a lot of people. I'm gonna put that right in the middle at 5 though.
I like it. Yeah.
So
5's a good spot
Panthers don't make playoffs.
for that. I like it. I like it. It's a good take. Let's go. Ooh. Tigers and the Dodgers
Yes.
are going to be the World Series matchup this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I have something similar
Seriously?
in my hot takes.
Yeah.
I don't see the Tigers making it.
Ooh, really?
I truly don't. I'm gonna put it at 6
6?
because it's
okay.
it's not insane.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah.
I get you. I always like underdogs, so I like the Tigers. I want to see them be able to do that.
100%.
Yeah, I'm happy that they knocked out the Astros too. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of jumping on the Tigers bandwagon right now. So next one for baseball too. Shohei
Shohei Ohtani, yes.
is not the greatest baseball player ever.
I'm putting that at 2.
Really?
I think Shohei Ohtani, he's insane.
Yeah.
I think he's. I'm speechless when you watch Shohei. He had a 50-50 season.
Yes.
If you look at the stats of like, they did something like double-digit steals, double-digit home runs.
Yes.
And it went back to like 1939.
Yeah,
And the guy
a long
had 10
time
home
ago.
runs and 50 steals.
Yeah.
Shohei's got 50-50. Oh, he didn't even pitch this year.
Nope.
And he had one of the greatest hitting seasons of all
Nope.
time.
It's a rehab year for him, and he's putting up those
I'm
kind
going
of numbers.
number 2 because I think there's gonna be something a little bit crazy on there.
Yeah. Leave that
But
number one spot
Shohei,
open.
I think, is the best baseball player of all time when it's said and done.
really?
He just got to get the World Series wins at this point.
Yes, yeah,
He's
yeah.
got to get some rings under his belt.
I mean, that's why I'd say that the Dodgers are going to make it to the World Series.
100%.
Yeah, no, totally. I think he's good. He's fantastic. He puts up great numbers. He's a specimen.
He's not the reason they lose. I'll
no,
tell you
exactly,
that.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Interesting. All right, so let's go with the WNBA real quick.
Okay.
Caitlin Clark.
Love Caitlin Clark.
I think we talked about this too. Caitlin Clark should have made the Olympics last year, 2024 Paris Olympics.
Okay, so I've actually done like a lot of like own homework research on this and
Yep,
stuff like that. I'm gonna put this at 9
Ooh,
because it's not. It truly isn't insane seeing both sides of the angles.
totally.
With 9 being gone, we only have 10, 4, and 1 left.
Yeah.
But talking about the Caitlin Clark situation, she's obviously, I think, already a top 10 WNBA player. She broke so many
totally.
records. Should have been unanimous.
Yep.
Rookie of the year, but
Angel Reese sneaking in there. Yeah.
that's the voters thing, not her fault.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the Olympics, she's obviously very young, and
totally.
she brings publicity in there. But there's also a lot of hate in that publicity. I wanted to say,
Yeah.
and they probably didn't want to bring that hate to the Olympics or
Yeah.
bring anything away from the other girls in the Olympics.
Totally.
Because it would be around Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
So I 100% understand that. But then the other point of view is you got to bring and build women's basketball.
Yeah.
You have to. And she is the reason, she is the number one reason women's basketball is coming to light recently.
Yeah.
So I personally would have had her on the team because I think she's personally good enough off
Yep.
the bat.
Yep.
But let's just say, you don't think she's good enough. I would have still brought her on the team because of how much she brings, even if you don't play her.
Yeah.
People are showing up for Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
You guys are up by 30. You're the USA. You're going to probably dominate on a small other country in the bronze medal game or whatever.
You can take the gold medal pretty easy in that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Put her in Caitlin Clark and, people start freaking out, all that
Yeah.
stuff. I would have brought her in to bring more viewership. You get more money. You get more people watching women's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
But I do understand the other side of the story with Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
So I put her at 9 because
9.
it truly isn't crazy.
I like that spot. That's a good spot for it.
Yeah.
All right. Ooh, these last 3. What spots do you have left right now?
I got
You
10, 4, and 1.
Okay, I'm gonna challenge you real quick.
I might have.
I think.
Yeah.
So I'm going Ravens and 49ers are your Super Bowl matchup.
Okay. Honestly, I'm putting that at 10.
Seriously?
I think
You think
both.
so?
I think both those teams, Ravens, 49ers, Super Bowl, because both those teams are very. Let me talk to the mic. Like they're superstar talented teams.
Yeah.
The way the Ravens have been playing ever since they started to figure out how to use Derrick Henry
Yep.
has been disgusting.
Yeah.
They just dominated on a Bills team, beat them
Dude.
up because they
a
ran the
blowout.
ball.
Yeah.
They ran the ball. Oh, when they did pass the ball, they got 20 yards because
Yep.
you have to commit to Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
They figured out how to use them. John Harbaugh's drawn up amazing schemes. Their defense is obviously a star-studded defense.
Yep.
I think at one point the 49ers, once they get rid, because that has been a very injured-riddled season for them so far. Once they get kind of all healthy, get everything back, get everything going again.
Get McCaffrey back.
There's a lot of even if they don't get McCaffrey back, Jordan Mason's been stepping in.
Totally.
I think a lot of stuff can happen with this 49ers team.
Yeah.
I could also see them not making the playoffs because of some injury stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm never going to rule out the 49ers.
Yeah.
The Ravens, I think that'd be a very good Super Bowl matchup as well.
So number 10.
I'm putting it at number 10 because that's not really crazy to say, but 1 and 4.
I like it.
I'm looking for some hot takes now.
Yeah. All right, we got the last two. All right. Ooh, might challenge you a little bit with these ones. All right, so I'm going. The Cougs are winning the next 2 Apple Cups.
The Cougs win the next 2 Apple Cups. I don't think it's insane to say.
Yeah.
It's not like a number 1.
No.
So I'm gonna put this at 4.
I like it.
Blind reaction. Probably would put it a little bit lower if this was like the first one.
Yeah.
But I think we're really building something.
Yeah.
The thing is, with Washington State is if we do good, a lot of people are probably gonna leave for money. Like there's a very good chance that obviously cross your fingers, but John Mateer, who was a Heisman candidate, last week, probably the reason why we're doing so good.
Totally.
John Mateer will probably leave for a bigger school, better
probably.
opportunity, and bigger money. That's the only thing with Washington is that we don't have a lot of time to build.
No.
Because we're usually that one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
Where it's like if we don't win it all that year, people leave. It's like what happened with the Huskies this year.
Yep.
They made the national championship. Coach left for Alabama. All their good players left for the draft. Other players left to bigger programs for more money. And that's where we are, but just lower.
Yes.
So if you have one guy that just is going off, like if we had Ashon Genty who was a sophomore this year, he would leave right after to go to the draft or something like that.
Totally.
And so that's where I can not see it and can see it because I think we are a very good team.
Totally.
This is the best we've been in a while. I think we're going to be pretty, at least mid.
Yes.
While we are in college.
Yeah.
These next 3-4 years. So it's not crazy to say, but it is at the same time.
Yeah.
So because you truly don't know how it's going to be the next 2 years.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'll put it at 4.
4. I like it.
Number 1.
Last
this is
one.
supposed to be the hottest take. You never know.
Oof. I think this kind of catered a little bit to you on accident. I mean,
Yeah.
the Oilers are not making the Stanley Cup this year.
As a one, you can't put that as 1 because making a championship in any sport is so hard.
Yeah. I kind of pigeonholed you to putting this in 1, huh?
Yeah.
Narrow down your options.
Yeah. So Oilers, no Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
I'm obviously going to be we only got better. So I'm going to say we can do it because we did it last year.
Totally.
But it truly is like one of the hardest things to do is just even make the championship.
Yeah.
In any sport. So I can't see it not happening. Only 2 teams out of 32 teams make it. Not really a lot to talk about because
Odds are against you,
such a like we said, like even the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They're the favorites. You bet $100, you're still gonna get a lot of money because just making the Super Bowl, Stanley Cup,
it's hard.
World Series, it's borderline impossible.
Yep.
So it really isn't crazy to say, but at number 1. But this is what we have after Smith's list. We have we're gonna go 10. This is a blind ranking, by the way. 10, which wasn't hot at all. I could see it 100% happening, all the way up to 1, which is the hottest take.
Yep.
Some of these will probably switch up if they were put in different orders and stuff that.
Yeah.
But 10, we have Ravens 49ers Super Bowl.
I can see it happening. Yeah.
9, Caitlin Clark USA not making the team.
Yep.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
8, Kansas City no Super Bowl this year. The Chiefs. 7, the Seattle Kraken playoffs.
Yep.
We talked about that.
I can see that.
6, Tigers versus Dodgers World Series.
I'm hoping for it.
We're getting a little hot with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
5, Panthers don't make the playoffs. I think that's right in the middle.
Yeah.
We talked about it. It could go either way.
Either way, yeah.
4, Cougs win 2 of the next 3 Apple Cups or whatever.
It could happen, but there's a lot that's kind of broke.
A lot can happen in 2-3 years.
Yeah.
4 or 3, Connor Bedard overrated. That was a pretty hot one, pretty high. 2, Shohei Ohtani is not the best player in MLB. history.
Yeah, you disagree with me on that.
I did disagree. Put it too, and then Oilers no Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
As an Oilers fan, I think it puts it perfectly because we're making the Stanley
you
Cup.
Want to make it? Yeah.
But that was Smith's hot takes. Now we go to Connor
Switch over.
and Clint or Smith. I mean, we'll
react to it.
We'll react to this and have his own ranking.
Yeah.
Okay, so at number 1, my first question is: the Oilers will win the President Trophy and be the best team in the regular season this year.
Ooh.
Just have the best regular season record. Not Stanley Cup. Maybe they even get eliminated first round, but they're the best team in the regular season.
Best team in the regular season. I mean, you got McDavid, you got Draisaitl, you got and we were talking about this earlier that they got third line guys who are actually like stepping up.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, I would
only gotten better.
And you came out swinging with this first one. I'm gonna put this at 5.
At 5, that's a pretty good middle one.
Yeah.
Because even though they're such a star-studded team, being the best team in the regular season is very hard to do.
Oh, totally.
So
yeah, and I think too, it's like in a lot of sports, I think in baseball too, it's like the team that has the best regular season
majority of the time doesn't even win.
Yeah, which is like it's super weird. Yeah, but anyway, sorry.
Then number 2, this kind of staying with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
I said the Kansas City Chiefs do three-peat. Hot take.
Ooh.
So they do. They do in fact win 3 in a row. They have that dynasty. Documentary's gonna be made 20 years from now.
Oh. I'm a certified Kansas City hater. I don't like them. So a three-peat would be hell on earth for me. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna put 3.
Put it at 3.
Yeah,
it's hard to win.
Yeah, it is hard to win 3 in a row. I mean, did Brady have a three-peat? I don't think he ever did. He might have gone back to back.
I think he's made it 3 years, 4 years in a row, something like that. But I don't think he ever won 3.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So I think if Patrick Mahomes was the three-peat, then the only thing you would ever hear about is he's better than Tom Brady. And I don't want to.
And those questions are already popping up.
Yeah, no.
And he's still in a young career.
I don't even want to think about that. But yeah.
So you got 5 and 3. Sticking with the NFL. I want to throw this one out there, get some controversy out there.
Yep.
Jamar Chase is a better receiver than Justin Jefferson. Me personally, I'm saying no.
Yeah.
But it's pretty hot.
That is pretty hot. To be honest, though,
it's not insane.
It's not insane. I'll put it at 6.
Yeah, it's I think, really good spot.
Justin Jefferson. Yep, gotcha. Sweet. All right.
All right, number 4. This is a team. We're going to basketball. We haven't talked about basketball.
Yeah.
I talked to you about this.
A little shaky on my NBA. A little bit
before, but the Sacramento Kings will be a surprise team this year and be a top team. As I love the Kings this year.
Yeah.
They're already looked as underrated. They got better with DeMar DeRozan.
Yep.
They've already been kind of that playoff team. They got the 6th man of the year. They got the 2 All-Stars, Fox and Sabonis. I love the Kings this year, and no one's really talking about them, so that's why I threw it in here.
No, I like that. I'm gonna put that at 8. I think that I like to see underrated teams outperform. What I don't like seeing is like seeing a team that's like projected to do fantastic,
and they do fantastic.
Yeah, like that's the Dodgers right now. Like, it's like they're a superstar team, and then they end up being a superstar team.
Yeah.
You either want you want a team that's underrated to then play phenomenally, or you want a team that's rated super high to just like that was kind of like the Rangers a little bit. Like they should have been a lot better this year in baseball, but they didn't. But like no, I'm the same way. I'm gonna put Kings. You said they're gonna be the best team in the league.
Not best team in the year, but they'll be surprise team, and let's just say they'll be top 5 team in the West.
Top 5 team in the West. I got you. Yeah, I like that.
And a very hard Western Conference, by the way.
Oh, totally.
This is gonna be a crazy year for the NBA.
I like that. All right, so I'm putting that at 8. I'll put that
number
at 8.
5. Hey, Detroit Tigers go on a hot streak and make the World Series.
I'm putting that. Ooh.
I put mine at 6 with the Dodgers. But this is just doesn't matter who they're playing against. It's just the Tigers make the World Series.
Just that they make the World Series.
Yep.
I'm all aboard on the Tigers bandwagon right now, so I'm gonna put that at number 10 because I want to see. During the regular season, I hated the Tigers because they kept beating the Mariners in really key situations, which was really frustrating. And Skubal was pitching phenomenally, and so I didn't like them that much. But the fact that they knocked the Astros out of the World Series for the first time in I think 9 years, they are in my good graces forever now. So I want to see them win it all because then that means that they were the team that beat the Astros and then won the World Series.
Yeah. Number 6, we're going to football. We're not going to the NFL right here.
Yep.
Travis Hunter will be the first pick in the NFL draft regardless of what team is drafting.
Ooh.
Cornerback, receiver.
Yeah.
Technically, I think Ashon Genty should be in front of him.
Yeah.
But he is number 1 in Heisman vote. You know, that 1A, 1B Heisman right there. First pick in the draft regardless.
First pick in the draft.
Plays cornerback and receiver. He's dominant at both.
Ooh.
I know.
I'm going to put him at 7. I think
it isn't crazy.
It isn't horribly crazy. I think you're right though. I think Genty should probably go ahead of him, but yeah, 7 is probably where I'd put it. I can't put it too high. And I got 7 and 9 open for me.
And a lot of these teams that have been sucking, like they don't need a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like the Dolphins, even though I think Tua probably should retire.
Yeah.
They're not going to take, Shadur Sanders or whatever, Carson Beck number 1. They'll take Travis Hunter.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Number 7, the Yankees and Dodgers make the World Series and it becomes one for the decades.
Ooh.
One of the best World Series to watch. I think that's a very interesting World Series. 2 of the best teams in the league.
Honestly,
very, very entertaining in my opinion.
You have probably the 2 best offenses in baseball right now going against each other, Judge and Shohei. Like, again, like I don't want to glaze Shohei.
Yeah.
Because he's good.
He already gets enough.
Yeah. I think when he hit 50-50, they made 18 posts about him on the MLB official Instagram or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So I don't like guys who are overhyped, but at the same time, I think for some reason I have a feeling that I don't think the Dodgers are going to choke, but I think that the Yankees are going to choke. And for that reason, I'm putting that at number 4.
Okay.
So I'm going Yanks.
I think if both those teams do make it, though, it'll be a very entertaining World Series.
Oh, dude.
Even for non-baseball fans out there.
Yeah. I think it's we always miss out on the most, what would be the most entertaining World Series. We always get, one where it's it's not the best.
Yeah.
I'll watch it, but
you miss it in both sports. And I think with this World Series, if this does happen, it's a perfect 10 out of 10 matchup. You have the best offenses.
Yeah.
2 very good teams. You got the superstars in here.
Yeah.
You got not just Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani.
No.
You got Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. You got Juan Soto. You got all these guys.
2 stacked lineups going against each other.
And that's what else do you want to see?
Yeah.
And a lot of people obviously want that great pitching.
Yep.
But these games would be 9 to 8 games where the people would want to see.
Just cranking home runs over and over and over again. I want to see that. So
100%.
I got the number 1 spot, the number 2 spot, and the number 9 spot.
Okay.
So.
Coming in at number 8. We're going 1 year in advance since the Mariners didn't make it this year.
Yep.
I said, for the first time in Seattle history in the 2025 season, the Kraken and Mariners both make the playoffs.
Ooh, Kraken and the Mariners.
So let's just
Both
say,
of them
take this season away from the Kraken.
Yeah.
Going next year, both Mariners and Kraken
are making the playoffs.
Yep, so fast forward this year, Mariners in the playoffs, then you got a whole NHL season, Kraken make the playoffs. First time in Seattle history.
Man. All right. I'm going to put that... Damn, you're testing me.
I know.
I'm a diehard Kraken fan. I'm a diehard Mariners fan. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put it at 9.
Yeah.
I think that the
then
Mariners.
Both the teams will build from there. Yeah.
Absolutely. We are gonna create 2 fantastic playoff teams. Oh.
No, that's 100%.
Kraken and Mariners both make playoffs. All right. Yeah, no, I could see it happening just because I think the Kraken are gonna be good this year, and I think they're only gonna get better. And I think the Mariners are probably gonna figure some stuff out. I mean, I say this every year. They're like, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna make the playoffs this year, guys. Yeah. But it's I think they're definitely gonna make it 2025. So
100%.
Yeah.
For my last 2, you only have 1 and 2 left.
I only have 1 and 2 left.
I don't think these are 1 and 2 hot takes.
I may have screwed myself a little bit.
Again, these are blind reactions.
Totally.
But for number 9, I have the Dolphins finished as the bottom team in the NFL.
Oof.
That's
like saying the sky is blue. That's they're not that. They're without Tua, unless Tua comes back and all of a sudden if he's all of a sudden starts showing
just
out
back again,
and just starts hitting Tyreek just over and over again.
Which is what he does.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of
when he's healthy, and he's not brain dead for whatever reason.
When I also think that this was, we're gonna go into the Dolphins a little bit right now. Yeah. I think the Dolphins, this was one of the worst kind of setups for coaching adjustments of all time. They came into the season. When Tua's already had concussion problems and injury problems, they came into the season without a care in the world of if Tua got hurt. Yeah. And you're seeing the explosion, the atomic bomb that went off when he did get hurt, of where they didn't know what to do. Yeah. They didn't know how to react. This whole offense is built around him. So when you have the guys like Skylar Thompson, who's not really even a backup quarterback, I don't think he's that good at all. No. You brought in Tyler Huntley. They don't know how to use him. This whole offense is catered towards Tua, and they didn't have a plan B. They didn't have a backup plan at all. And I love Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDonald.
Mike McDonald. Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins head coach.
Yes. That's so similar names. I get them mixed up, dude.
Mike McDaniel of the Dolphins, I thought he was a very good coach. He's a smart human being, you can tell. Yeah. But this was very bad planning by him, especially it's not just all obviously on him, but we're going to blame the head coach for this specific start and stuff like that is that they didn't have a backup plan.
No.
They should go out there and sign Ryan Tannehill, get at least a veteran quarterback like now Andy Dalton's doing for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
That's all they need to do until Tua comes back because this whole offense is catered towards Tua, and they don't know what to do now.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to get Tyreek Hill involved, who was ranked the number 1 player in the NFL last year.
Yeah, he had a great week 1. I mean, it was fantastic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to get him involved. The quarterbacks can't get him or Jalen Waddle involved.
Nope.
Devin A-Chain, everyone's going to start blitzing because they know all they can do is run.
Yep.
This Dolphins team's just going down. So unless Tua comes back and they just go on a win streak where they're just, even if they're just the 10th worst team in the league, it's better than top 5, or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's not horrible to say with the Dolphins.
Yeah, no.
It's super sad though.
Totally. I'm putting that at 2. Just because I have 1 and 2 left. I gotta hope that this last one's actually it's gonna be hot, or if I screwed myself.
This one is a little bit hot because a lot of teams have been on. But this is basketball.
Okay.
I said James Harden gets back to his all-star caliber level, and the Clippers make the playoffs in a stacked Western Conference.
Interesting.
I wouldn't say that's a 1, but it's a pretty hot thing.
Yeah.
Because with this situation, it's Paul George is gone. He's an all-star that left. The Clippers are back and healthy. They basically reloaded the roster with young guys with potential guys like Kevin Porter Jr., who's a free agent. Young guy. He could drop 50 a random game here and there.
Totally.
But you have Kawhi Leonard back who's healthy.
Yep.
And then James Harden, who is in that second role now, or potentially even being first role. If he goes back to where he's dropping 25 a game, but he's an all-star.
Yeah.
Like we said, stacked Western Conference when we were talking about the Kings. Like, this Clippers teams, it's up in the air.
Yeah.
A lot of teams are writing them off. Because it's like you look at the roster, it's not what it used to be.
No.
They lost Westbrook, they lost Paul George, lost these other guys. Just brought in some other underrated younger guys. Hopefully they can prove themselves kind of people.
Totally.
And it could totally flip on them.
Yeah.
Where they barely make the play-in, lose the play-in, something like that. But I think that's not out of the question.
Yeah.
With James Harden going back and the Clippers making it.
Yeah. I messed myself up leaving the 1 and 2 spot open.
Which, I mean, it's okay because that's what usually happens in blind reactions.
Yeah.
You always leave that one spot open
Totally.
for your favorite something or something like that. But come back next week for some more hot takes.
Oh, absolutely. This is great. This is great. That's probably gonna do it for our show today. Kraken are getting ready for their home opener on Tuesday the 8th. Seahawks are playing. I believe it's Sunday Night Football again.
I don't think it's Sunday night.
Is it Monday?
I think it's. I don't think it's a primetime game.
Yeah, or it's Sunday morning or something like that.
It's a Sunday. I think a 10 o'clock game versus the Giants. No middle neighbors, looking like a W.
Absolutely.
WSU Cougars playing Fresno.
Yep.
Saturday next week, looking like a W.
Absolutely. And then
no more Mariners, sadly.
Yeah,
but
we'll see what they're going to do in the offseason. I think, the Mariners love to disappoint us with their offseason moves, so I have a weird feeling that's going to be the same thing this year. A weird feeling. It's definitely going to happen. But no, there's some exciting things going on in Seattle sports. So going on, both what's happened last week and what's coming up this week.
Just in the sports world outside of Seattle.
Oh, absolutely.
That I'm glad we talked about a little bit today. That we'll probably expand on in these upcoming weeks.
Totally.
Talk more about what's happening in these leagues.
Yep.
NHL starting, NFL starting a little bit more competitive.
Yep.
Basketball starting pretty soon.
It's Red October right now.
We talked about it. Best time to be alive as a sports fan, baby.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show, Smith.
Oh, dude, thank you so much for being here. Yeah.
If you bring me back, I'd be happy.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
you did a great job. It sounded great. Yeah, no. Also, World Series Championship is going on right now. Please, guys, tune in, watch that. There's some amazing games going on right now. But yeah, that does it. Again, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Slice of Seattle on KUGR. I'm Smith Sly.
I'm Connor Simmons.
Thank you guys so much for being with us today. Remember, it is a great day to have a great day, and go Cougs.